for coming. We're glad to have such a good turnout today. We want to start off with just introducing ourselves, and we'll start with Joe.
I am Detective Sergeant Joe Mosley. I'm the detective for Newton County. Glad to be here.
I'm Bonnie with DeMotte State Bank. I'm a Vice President in charge of loss prevention and security.
Jen Shutter, Kentland Bank, Senior Vice President, Chief Compliance and Chief Operating Officer.
Lexi with DeMotte State Bank, the Loss Prevention and Security Assistant.
Like I said, we're really happy to be here and talk about loss prevention. Lexi and I, we work daily in the fraud prevention area. A good portion of our daily responsibilities is dealing with fraud. We also strive to have our continual education. We try to stay current on the different types of fraud schemes that are out there. And we work closely with our customers, and we also work closely with law enforcement on our fraud cases. I've been in this industry for over 40 years. And being in the fraud department, I get asked the same question multiple times from our fraud victims. Their question is, Bonnie, why did I allow this to happen to me? And my answer is the same each and every time. Scammers are just getting smarter. Their techniques are so convincing because they start with something that feels routine and natural. A call, a notification, an unexpected request, or a transaction, which at a glance appears to seem legitimate. Like I said, I've done this for a long time, and even I share with them, have been a victim. Our family has been a victim. And our family fell victim to an obituary scam. What had happened there is my father passed away, and I know that scammers go after that. They will look at obituaries, they go and they break into people's homes. But on the day of my dad's funeral, I forgot to do that. I was so wrapped up in the emotion of losing my daddy and not thinking it through. So we all went to my mom's home that morning of the funeral. Everybody was there, multiple cars in the yard, and we all left to go to the church. My mom's sister and her husband were there staying with my mom, and my uncle said, I'm just going to go fill up your car with gas so that way you don't have to worry about that for a while. So when he left, there was no vehicles in the yard. Within 4 minutes, a woman came through my mom's back door and was in her basement. My aunt was sitting at the kitchen table. My mom was back primping or whatever she was doing at that time. And she thought, why is one of the kids down in the basement? So she went down there to the basement door, and here she seen was a stranger in the basement. She said, ma'am, can I help you? She said, I'm here to buy a snow blower or weed whacker or something like that. The next thing she knew, the woman ran up the stairs, ran out the back door, ran across the street, and got into a van. So instead of calling the police, they called me. I was at church because I needed to speak at my dad's funeral, and I said, we need to call 911 right away. So that, I felt bad. I felt really bad about that. So if I do this every day and let my guard down, that's why these things can happen to you, okay? Scammers, what they use, and this is what we tell people, they use urgency, they use fear, they use pressure, they use personal grief, and that's what I experienced. They use impersonation, they use trust, they use a common interest, they use a problem or a prize. Overall, their main goal, and I mean their main goal, is emotional and psychological manipulation. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Lexi, and she's got a few things to share with you on this.
How to avoid the scams and fraud. In the folders in front of you guys, there's a lot of information on what to do, how to avoid it, steps to take to avoid it. Don't believe everything that you read, see, or hear on TV, on social media, even from your friends. If it was something that they had seen or heard, it might not be legit. Just because somebody that you trust heard it, seen it, you still want to do your own research. Avoid clicking on links or opening attachments from people that you weren't expecting. If you get an email from somebody that you think you know who it was from, but they had spoofed your friend's email address, there's a good chance that you too are going to get hacked and your information is going to be compromised as well. Resist the pressure of acting immediately. Stop and talk to someone that you trust. If there is somebody on the phone and they say you need to do this as soon as you can, they are trying to get you to send your information to them as fast as possible before you have time to think about what they're doing, if there's any red flags on it, anything like that. Never send money to anyone that you have not personally met or seen face to face. There's a lot of times that people are going to tell you that they'll meet you at the airport or they'll meet you at the park or anything like that. If you have never met these people, why are you going to send money to them if you've never met them face to face? In the event that you are a scam victim, reach out to your bank, reach out to your local law enforcement, reach out to somebody that you can trust to say, hey, this has happened, what do you think I should do? You definitely want to contact your financial institution immediately so that they don't have time to get your funds. You want to disconnect your devices from your Wi-Fi, from your anything that you have connected to them. If you have your hotspot on your phone for your laptop, you disconnect everything. And then lastly, we like to request that you file a police report with your local law enforcement, just in case of future fraud. We want you to have a starting point on when the fraud could have started or when it did start for you guys. Okay.
Questions for DeMotte State Bank? Any questions?
What do you feel like is the majority of fraud you guys are seeing?
Right.
Is it scams or is it targeted to the elderly people? What do you feel like you guys see the majority of?
Right now, I think it's mostly scams. Not so much targeted group of people. Anybody that'll answer their phones. Or the TikTok messages or Facebook Messenger. Emails, yeah. It's really a good, not one group of people. Mainly just the scams that are going on through the devices.
I refer to it like the face of the clock. It just changes. This might be the hot thing, checks fraud. Then it might be mail theft. And then it just keeps going, ACH fraud. And then it keeps going to like email scams, text message fraud. It just keeps going and then it just cycles again. There's just really, it's all on the table right now. That's why the importance of everybody being so cautious and taking cautionary measures, making sure you have your malware updated on your devices, your passwords, your protection at your financial institutions, all that personal information.
Contact information
where they can, at a moment's notice, we can verify the person. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
All right. So the next piece that we're seeing a bunch of in our area right now currently is kind of an AI takeover. So voiceovers where they're making a phone call to you, makes it sound like it's someone you care about, someone you know, someone that matters to you. And so we want to make sure that you understand that just because that person is on the other end of the phone and maybe knows a little bit of information about you, they maybe know your address, they maybe answer the phone with grandma or grandpa, doesn't mean that that's who it is. Most people can identify either through Facebook, Instagram, posts on social media as exactly who you are. If you're a grandparent, you're really proud to represent your grandchildren and what they do, what sports they play, maybe what schools they go to. These fraudsters can log in with one swoop and identify all kinds of information about you that maybe isn't stolen information. It's not your social. It's not, those things that we think of as our secure information. It is the basic stuff that we all post about on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to show a quick video here, and in this video you'll see how quickly a fraudster can obtain a voice and trick some of these people in using some of this technology. Jeff? So as you can see, a lot of this information they're gathering online, they're taking that information and they're manipulating our customers, your grandparents, your neighbors. And so these are people that we want to make sure that we're protecting and we're having these conversations with, which is why we've decided to partner together, local banks, community banks, as well as law enforcement, so that we're all delivering the same message, which is we want to protect the people within our communities. And by doing seminars like this is exactly how we get the outreach and the information out to you guys. A lot of times we hear things and we think, oh, that would never happen here. How many times have we thought, oh, well, that would never happen in a small town. I know everybody. And then next thing you know, it's happening to your neighbor or it's happening to our customers, and we want to make sure that we're protecting you the best we can. So I'm going to hand it over to Detective Mosley to discuss some of the things that he's seeing more locally.
Good morning, everyone. Probably have a lot of information. I'm just going to probably run through most of that. Again, I'm Detective Joe Mosley from the Newton County Sheriff's Office. I have been seeing quite a bit of fraud as it comes to investigating the frauds. There's different type of scams that are out there. So it seems as if almost every other week or so we're getting calls or we're getting different reports of different schemes or scams that's going on where people are being defrauded out of money, and sometimes it's not a small amount, it's up in the thousands. And it's awesome to have people like Bonnie and Jen and Lexi and other officials from different banks and different financial institutions you can work with and try to get more information and kind of go from there. One of the things that I realized is that older adults ages 60 and up suffered the greatest financial impact from fraud last year. And those numbers are still coming up. They came from the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. FBI IC3 is kind of the short term for that. I just wanted to give a few fraud statistics as well. We had 201,000, the U.S. last year in total complaints, total report losses over 7.75 billion. Our average loss per victim, that kind of gives us around the range of 38,000 per victim that is lost. Some victims lost more than that, but that's just average amount. And there's been a significant 37% increase in financial losses from 2024. So from 2024 to 25, it's a 37% increase, and we haven't gotten the numbers yet of completely what it looks like from 25 to 26. But I wanted to talk about a couple of targeted scams. I'm just going to run through a few of them because there's a lot of information. These are a lot of scams that I have seen. At least one of these scams I've seen over the past year. I've seen more, but I'm going to average at least one of these from each category. We've had a romance scheme. As a matter of fact, I was working with the DeMotte State Bank in reference to one of the romance schemes where someone was kind of petitioned or got a hold of a particular individual and got a hold of their account information and saying that they lived overseas and, assist with this, assist with that, and she was sending money over. We had another investigation similar to that. So romance schemes, that really includes someone that's, playing on the heartstrings or the emotions of someone to get them to send money over for whatever reason. I've seen a lot of tech support scams where someone would go into a computer and take over that computer and have them clicking links and things like that. The grandparent scam is another one that we've seen where you have someone claiming to be someone's grandchild or so, a long lost family, and having them send money or send items and things like that. Others that I've seen as well, government impersonation scam. Actually just charged someone on this last month where they called from another county stating that they were like Lake County Sheriff's Office police, called one of our citizens, and the citizen was kind of scammed out of sending upward like $2,000 or something like that. And so I was able to trace phone numbers and trace information, found out who the subscriber was, and was able to get some charges. So all cases are not as successful as that, but the few that are, we attempt to do as much as we can to do that. So he impersonated a police officer, and so there's a couple of charges we have for that. Another one is the sweepstake charity and lottery scams. See a lot of this where someone got something in the mail, they got something in email or phone call like, hey, you won this, but you have to pay this fee in order to collect. We've seen that. Someone called our office stating that, hey, so they said that I have a warrant, and this guy named Joe Mosley called me, and I'm like, I'll never call you for a warrant. I'll never call you to, to tell you to pay this for a ticket or something like that. And then next thing you know, we have the scam that comes where it's like, well, we have this came in the mail, it's a sweepstake, and they said to come to the sheriff's office or whatever. So it's get a lot of the crazy scams and schemes. They try anything that they can to attempt to get people to send money. Home repair scams, people showing up at the front door unsolicited, pretty much saying that, hey, you know, we're here, we offer these services. And when you go to a senior's home or someone over 60 and there's something that needs to be done to the house, they don't think twice about it, like, absolutely, if I can get it done for that amount. And they send money, repairs never happen, things never happen, company was never legit. So I've seen some of those as well, especially with the recent tornado and things that has occurred in our county. Most of recently have seen that. TV and radio scams, different illegitimate advertisement about legitimate services. Again, family caregiver scam, relative or acquaintances of the elderly take advantage of them to get their money. So we have a lot of scams that we see on a consistent basis. But I did want to take out the top scams that we've seen the most of, as well as, you know, across the U.S. Investment scams, $8.6 billion in reported losses. Cryptocurrency is something that's continuing to grow with the different scams that people are configuring with that. And it's very hard to track. So it's something that we send off to the FBI because they have more resources to attempt. But the money passes so many what they call addresses until it's almost impossible to figure out actually the source of where it's going coming. And that's $11.3 billion. Tech and customer support scams, $2.1 billion. Romance scams, $929 million. So these are different scams that we have seen locally. A lot of, you know, people would say from Lake County or other counties, like, you guys don't see that in Newton County. We absolutely do. We do. And so just to reiterate some of the things that Lexi has already told us, Jen and Bonnie, be cautious with those phone calls. Don't give you a personal identifiable information. If they have to ask you if this is you or if this is or ask you for your information, it's definitely not someone you want to give information to. Disconnect right away, shut down. Be careful what you download. If you're downloading something where someone can actually, you can click a link and that person has all access to your computer, can copy everything from that, take precautions to protect your identity. Call the police immediately and then immediately call your bank. And I have another slide with the information. This is my information if you need to get in contact with someone from our offices or me directly. And also have other resources for AARP, Fraud Hotline, FBI, National Elder Fraud, and Federal Trade Commissions. So just different resources that are out there. And also we've provided everyone with a folder that provides other information on different ways to protect yourself, different schemes that are out there, different scams that's out there. So feel free. If you have any questions, please hold them, and we'll answer during our Q&A session. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions and answers at this time. We are going to end our, do you want to go ahead? Yeah, we have a question here.
So I hear you talking more about when people call like a place, or no, someone calls them. You find scams more like the elderly is paying a bill and like there's a filter where someone pays like their Chase Bank or something. Do you place the call? Because I know sometimes that's a concern.
Yeah, we recently seen in our area actually some what they call spoofing attempt where maybe they'll contact you or text you and say, you know, call us at this number or call me back, and you click the number and you call that number directly back where it spoofs it over. It usually is a legitimate phone number, so you know, like you're saying, okay, Comcast calls you and says, hey, this bill is due. It'll pop up Comcast with a legitimate number that if you Google, it'll be Comcast's number, but the number they're actually calling from is not that number. And so they'll try to obtain some information and kind of voice over, and typically we'll have that information. So that is kind of an indicator that either there was, you know, maybe a mail theft attempt where they obtained your information from Comcast and exerted that information out so they know you're a legitimate Comcast customer to make it really believable. We've seen some voiceover instances where, like we talked about, kind of the grandkids or non-grandkids, but somebody will call and pull a legitimate, Bonnie's information from DeMotte State Bank's website, and we'll call and say, hey, this is Bonnie from DeMotte State Bank, and you think, oh, I know Bonnie from DeMotte State Bank. So they make it really believable. They put a lot of time and work into these to make sure that you really believe that's who you're talking to on the other end of the phone.
And your safe way of avoiding that is?
So if you hang up with that person and you actually call the legitimate number back, it won't go to them. It's just kind of a filtrated number that they're working through.
If it feels good, you just don't get that.
Yeah.
Exactly. The other thing I'm going to add to what Jen said too is sometimes you'll get these phone calls like half an hour or right after your bank has closed or over the weekend. Our thing is don't react. Okay, wait till Monday morning, wait till Saturday morning, wait till whenever the bank opens back up and call them back before you react. That's what they want, like I talked about. They want immediate reaction. They put that fear in you that Joe's going to show up and throw you in jail tonight. That's not what's going to happen, okay?
Yeah, or the panic of, oh, it's Friday at 7 o'clock at night, and I need to go get groceries tomorrow morning, and they're telling me I need to verify this card fraud on my card shut down. Well, now I can't go get my groceries, and it creates a sense of panic, right? So then you give them the answer because you don't want them to shut your debit card down. You have things to do tomorrow. So just, taking an extra step, slowing down, calling back a trusted number is the best way to handle those situations.
And the one thing I want to say to all of you today too, you all have family, you all have friends. When you have get-togethers, share this information with them. I think it's a topic that people don't really like to talk about, but we said, when these situations happen and they're like, my sister just went and did this, why did you do this? Why didn't you pick up the phone and call me? Have that conversation. If you don't feel comfortable with that situation that's going on, pick up and talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, it's not a thing to be embarrassed by. Bonnie shared her own experiences that we're the subject matter experts are supposed to be that, and sometimes we too can start to question some of those phone calls.
And that was a hard day for me because all in my mind the whole day is I have to put my mom back in that house tonight, and that's exactly what had happened. And really with that situation, the best thing is get a house sitter, unfortunately, these scammers are horrible people, okay? And I have a saying, there's not a special place for these people. There's a horrible place down south for these people. So, it's just, we see it, and it's just really hard. It pulls at our heartstrings, too, when you have it. Jen, you see it, too, when you're dealing with customers.
So, question. So, if you've been contacted, and so maybe what I suspicion might be a scammer contacting me, I didn't necessarily take the bait on it, but if you feel like you've been contacted by a scammer, should you treat that as a random act, or is there some type of action that you can take as an individual to kind of further protect yourself if you feel that you have been encountered by somebody?
I would advise calling the financial institution first and, just passing that information along, and then contacting law enforcement. We have an emergency line as well, just to inform, like, hey, this is going around, just so that we can get ahead of it. That's more information we can put out right away, like, hey, beware of this, beware of, people that are calling, and this certain amount of time, what have you. So that helps big time as well to get ahead of that.
Yeah, you want to minimize the thought process of I'm the only one who got this phone call, right?
Absolutely.
And so the more information we have, the more we can share, and the more it creates those other individuals who maybe weren't going to come forward. If you come forward first and say this happened, and maybe we place something out there to say, hey, this is happening locally, it opens the door for other people to then contact, the sheriff's department and say, hey, I too got this same phone call. And now we know there's a pattern. Maybe there's a little bit more research we need to be doing to prevent something.
Communication. Communicate. That's what you need to do. It's very important. So.
My question's for Joe.
Okay.
Yes.
So I recently received something in the mail that said I had a traffic ticket, but it looks suspicious. What would be my first point of contact to kind of authorize that, saying yes, it is suspicious, or no, this is legitimate?
Okay. Contacting us, again, would be awesome. We never have an issue with coming out to the house or you coming up to the station and showing us what it looks like, and we can kind of verify information, certain things that we can look for on that ticket to say, hey, this is absolutely not correct, or what have you. And sometimes it'll be helpful. We can grab information from that, and even if it's something that says, hey, pay this amount here, we can probably track and go from there. So it's always good to, if you can scan it or email it over, or even stop in, or we can come by the residence in order to kind of look at that for you. We just had a recent one where someone was subpoenaed to court and told that the only thing they had to do was pay this amount of money and they wouldn't have to come. But everything was almost accurate until we saw a case number from a cause number that wasn't from our county. So no one would know, like 56D01 or something like that would be from here or from anywhere else. But we were able to locate that and like, hey, this definitely isn't ours. And we can verify it directly with the judge or the other courts. So.
Thank you.
As you guys as financial institutions, what does your staff look for when they have customers in front of them? Just examples of stuff you might have caught, or how, I know that there's some financial institutions that catch that stuff, but what are some of the examples you're seeing out there? How does your staff handle some of those, or have some ideas on what you guys as an institution are looking forward to?
Training. I mean, number one, we're training our staff. If anything doesn't appear to be legit, or if you have something in question, reach out. That's our first thing. And it basically it's a case by case. I think it just depends. I mean, they are all trained on that too, that they need to contact us, and they do, and sometimes if they don't even get to the frontline staff, they come in and ask for a specific person, a customer will, and say, can you check this out? Or that check that just showed up in the mail, I don't know why I got this, I haven't talked to him, but it's got instructions I'm supposed to deposit and wait for instructions after it's deposited, or call this number after I deposit. Those are type of things we'll ask them, were you expecting this check? And they'll be like, no, well then why did you get it? That's kind of like just a basic starting point there. So.
The other big piece is knowing your customers.
Yes,
So we do
exactly.
strive that, that's the benefit of banking in a community bank over maybe a larger institution, is that we really focus to make sure we know who these customers are, who your, the next generation of your family is, and making sure that we know you. And sometimes we may not. We all have, new tellers. We promote. We're trying to grow careers within this industry, and so maybe there's a new face on the teller line, and they're now asking you for your identification. It's not as an insult. It is 100% to protect you from things like this happening, or somebody maybe taking your account over, has a fraudulent check they're going to deposit, maybe a case of identity theft. We're just trying to deter that. So we just ask that you have patience as we do get to know you. But I think for both institutions, I know that that's one thing that we hear a lot is, people kind of balk at that idea of having to show their driver's license when it's really not to insult you or inconvenience you. It is 100% to protect you.
And that's what Alessia talked about too, is keeping your contact information up to date, If we need to reach out or to help you as an individual, we will want to reach out to another account holder on that account. So that is very important. And exactly what Jen said, we're a community bank. We're all community banks here. We all work in our community, and that's what we want to strive, is to protect our community. So.
We will finish our Q&A and some of our other housekeeping things here, and thank you everyone online for watching our seminar as well.
Thank you.